Welcome to another episode of Meet the Ocean. I'm your host, Paul North, and today we discuss something particularly spooky. Now, plenty of our listeners have told me how terrifying diving in Antarctica sounds, especially when there are leopard seals just around the corner. And it goes without saying that the deep sea contains the terror of the unknown, which is why we love interviewing those who explore it. Hint, hint, check out one of our latest episodes on Triton submarines. But since it is just about time for Halloween, and everyone's deciding on their costume and candy selections for the year, we thought it would be fun to investigate some of the more nightmarish creatures of the deep. The ones who have confused us with their strange adaptations and unsightly appearances. But before we dive in, I would like to remind everyone that Meet the Ocean is a listener-supported nonprofit. Simply put, that means we need all the help we can get to continue making meaningful, educational content that inspires audiences of all ages. During these pandemic times, our content has become more precious than ever. And Meet the Ocean was recently voted Best Nature Podcast by the city of Portland, Oregon. We entertain as we educate, and use storytelling as a vehicle to improve science communication and conservation efforts around the world. You can always find more podcasts, underwater creatures, and ways to donate to our nonprofit on our website, meettheocean.org. And now, for our special Halloween episode.
Yes, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Please sit or stand. I don't care. But you have to listen because what will be described to you is beyond fantastical. Creatures sharing the very planet that you inhabit. And most of them move around at night when you are sleeping. Behold, our first specimen, the Blobfish.
Found in the deep waters of Australia, the blobfish has been voted the ugliest fish on planet Earth. But before you go casting your vote, keep in mind that the ocean's pressure where the blobfish calls home is 120 times greater than at the surface. So it might not really have a skeleton, or what we think of as muscles, but is perfectly suited to live in such deep waters. Squish along, little buddy. There's a place for you in the ecosystem, somewhere.
Fascinatingly disgusting, but not particularly dangerous. Unlike the Goblin Shark.
The Goblin Shark, often described as a living fossil, stretches back 125 million years in Earth's history. That's how long it has been terrorizing the deep sea where it resides. With a long, flat nose, nail-like teeth, and a body that stretches to 13 feet, it swims along the ocean bottom, hunting and feeding in the blackest dark.
Perhaps now you would like to take a swim? At night? What's that? You wouldn't? How disappointing. Well, our final spooktacular species needs no full moon to transform. Only a sky full of stars.
The Stargazer is a bioelectrogenic bony fish. That's a fancy way of saying it produces its own electricity. With over 51 species that we know of, the Stargazer is a flat fish that tucks its body in the sand, leaving only its eyes to stare up at the prey that will inevitably swim over it. One quick strike, and dinner is served. And let's not forget, they have venomous spines. So mind your twinkle toes or prodding fingers, should you ever have the nightmare of encountering one.
Yes, fascinating. Unbelievable. I don't think I'll sleep for a week. So many beasties. Such little time. But before we all retire, we have one more special guest left to speak to us about something truly terrifying.
Hi, I'm Carl Safina. For me, every day is scary, but not because of these creatures. I often say that no living thing is ugly. All are fascinating. Although I do make an exception for naked mole rats. They're ugly and fascinating. But even there, fascinating wins. Anyway, back to what scares me every day. What scares me isn't that I might someday meet up with them. It's that someday they might be gone. What a creature looks like is no measure of their value, their right to exist. They've existed for millions of years. They've never harmed the world. They've caused no extinctions, started no wars. They hate no one, and the world has lasted millions upon millions of years with them in it. That's proof that they work in the overall ecology, the meshing relationships of life. Fact is, we have no right to judge them poorly for their looks, or because we don't understand them much, or even because they might have spines and venom. I know some pretty prickly people who spew their own venom. Will humans last for millions of years? Will we last without demolishing more of the world than the extinction crisis we're causing now? Or the ocean acidification we're causing? Or the warming that is bursting into flames on 3 continents? These underwater animals we've been looking at, a lot of them live on reefs. And why are reefs dying? Let me give you a hint. It is not because of them. When I was a kid on Long Island, there were big, familiar animals that appeared to be doomed. Fastest living thing, the peregrine falcon, was vanishing from most of the country because of pesticides. For the same reason, the huge fish hawks called ospreys were already gone from my region. Whales were being hunted to extinction. Fish were being fished out. But a few people did something. They had the science and knew what they were talking about. They sued and they lobbied and they demanded. It took years of hard work, but they made a convincing case. And so the worst pesticides were banned. And over the years, the birds recovered. And the whaling boats were told to stay tied to the dock. And over the years, most of the whales have been recovering. And the fishing boats were given limits. And in many places, the fish are recovering too. What's scary is how close we came to losing them. What's scary is how few people understand or care to act. But now you know a little more than you did, and you care a little more, and every day you make decisions about how you'll do things and what you'll talk about, and those actions, those words, they matter. So, don't be scared. Be mad for a few minutes. Then stop being mad and start loving the world. Put your energies into loving the beautiful and the ugly creatures and talking about why. And the world will get a little less scary, maybe a lot less scary, because of you.
Meet the Ocean is produced by Paul North and Andrew Gettings with sound design by Kelsey Anderson. We are a listener-supported nonprofit. You can find more podcasts, underwater creatures, and ways to donate to our educational outreach on our website, meettheocean.org. Subscribe to our podcast to never miss an episode, support us on Patreon, and please rate and review Meet the Ocean on Apple Podcasts or on whatever platform you choose to listen. Until next time, may the saltwater be with you.